finish this thought. How you doing? I'm Joseph R. Wheeler, the third, the artist, the founder, the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. And I was talking earlier. I'm gonna make this part two. Just say this is part two of my previous live today. You really got to watch the first one to understand everything else I'm about to say right now, because I'm not gonna repeat myself. I'm just gonna continue where I was in my story. I was talking about how a lot of these jobs that are blue collar jobs, gig economy jobs, okay, have for years not been respectful or truly what they should be for the worker. And that's like any damn job, just about, but especially in those jobs, service jobs, delivery jobs, construction jobs, man, what? Cooks, cleaners. I could go on and on and on and on. Y'all know who we are. We the people that make the world go round, who do all these kind of jobs. All right, drivers. Let me not forget my rideshare riders and everybody like that. You know, folks working at airports, security, and all that. Any of that, anything that makes it move, y'all. Retail, it don't matter. Any of it, right? Okay. And I'm not. I've always had to do those types of jobs as my side gigs to my art because I'm an artist and I live the art life. So I was sharing that it's like, it's sad to say, but the struggle continues with the way these things are organized and the sad standard that has been so lackluster for so many years is going to be the very reason and the excuse these companies replace more and more because they're already doing it. We're seeing the big wipeout of people losing their jobs, but it's going to be the excuse for why they replace so many people with the new technologies of the future. Okay, and I mean all the various technologies. It's just it's the ultimate reality for businesses and business to make money over everything, and they know the consumer. Even the people who work there are consumers, so they know the habits of the consumer. They know that people will complain and still bow down to the very gatekeepers they say are keeping them from all of their greater life and what they really want out of life. They'll take it as long as if you give folk just I don't know how they're gonna manage that part. I'm always saying, well, once they get rid of everybody and replace everybody with the robots and the drones and all the various AI systems for the majority, not everybody, but majority, what are those other people gonna be doing? Like, do you really want chaos and just straight up anarchy and shit from people being hungry? No. I think unfortunately that will be a part of it, I think. But I think the other thing that's going to happen is they're going to give people all types of new home positions that also increase the amount of, I hate to say it, in this country, it's going to increase the amount of obesity and everything. Because somebody's got to be on a computer more so at home, and no different than somebody sitting in a cubicle. You've got people who are doing more physical jobs like what I do to get by. Courier work, yo, you working out. You getting paid to work out at the same time. You still getting to work out a little bit, depending on how intense the job is. The kind I'm doing right now, not so much. But then I do other stuff to make sure I don't be getting. I'm not trying to be big. I'm not. No, I'm not trying to have it. No, hell no, not an option, right? But I know that if I were to just do the kind that I'm doing right now, and that's it, never do a push up when I get home, never lift my weights, never take a walk for myself. Oh yeah, I'd put on some pounds because it's not enough getting out the car and going. But I have worked it the other way where you're going like I'm talking about like every 2 to 3 minutes you hopping in and out, you hopping in and out, you dropping package. You're doing hundreds of packages per day, you know. And with this particular thing I was looking at and attempting to be a part of, and still am. They talk about anywhere from 100 to 300. 100 to 200 is common. 200 is common. I was like, God, hey, packages a day. Okay, this is average. Okay, this is the norm, right? I said, oh my gosh, I thought 70 to 80 was bad, and I've done 100 before, working for the Browns and stuff. But hey, whew, whew, boy, them days, I remember that feeling, right? So I'm saying it's that kind of job, but it can pay okay, a better, way better, decent than, or it pays like stuff I've done in the past that paid similar. So I know what that would do for not worrying about freaking bills all the time. So that's why I went for the job, naturally, right? So check it, hold on. So basically, to kind of try to quickly wrap up my mainline point, when I Went for what was supposed to be an interview today. My appointment was for 4. I was there at 3:30. I ain't playing. Hell, I was really there like 3:25. I walked in at 3:30 because it took me a minute to go through this huge warehouse and get to the door after trying to figure out anybody. There's nobody there to greet you and tell you where to go. You just start talking to some workers. They know what's up. And folk helped me out and told me where I needed to be, and that worked out. Um, but when I got up in there, it was funny. The lady, the lady so used to people being so late and stuff. She thought I was late, so she was like, "Well, you missed my." I said, "No, the appointment's at 4." She said, "Oh, you here for the 4? Oh, you early, early." I said, "Yeah, ain't nobody playing." She looked at me like, "I like that." I was like, "Damn right. I'm what you think this is? 50-year-old man. Ain't nobody playing. I need this fucking money. Ain't nobody up in here. This ain't casual. This ain't casual. I'm dead ass serious. What's up? What's the next step?" So she went on and told me she was real honest with me, and I appreciated that. She said, "So, sir, like, I'm gonna tell you, like I told the other folks." And it was like, maybe 8 people sitting there waiting, still going through stuff, whatever. She said, "This is not for a job here at this hub." I said, "Oh, it's not." She said, "Yeah, what it is, the company, they're they needed help." Here we go with all these lack of people because they laying folk off and they just pimping the leftover folk they still got. They said, they needed people up in Alpharetta. Now, if you know Atlanta, all I'm gonna say is this is in South Fulton. That's all Imma say. Only folk in Atlanta just said, "Oh, hell no." Everybody else like, "What's the big deal? I don't get it." Just put it like this. She said, "If you ain't willing to drive, to Alpharetta, that would literally be like a 2-hour drive from where I'm at." I said, "Hell no." She said, "Yeah, I know." He said, "Well, but there are 2 other companies that are hiring here," and she gave me that information. So I applied for those. She said, "Now those," and she said, "The other thing is the one that you came in for this interview, even though they said it would be a full-time position, they lied. They lied. It's not she didn't lie. She just did it. And that's the problem. They always put somebody who ain't got nothing to do with that as the messenger. It's like, don't kill the messenger. It's like, but you're the only one telling me the truth, but I appreciate the truth. She like, don't tell y'all this, but that position that you would have been here for early to interview for, they're not even that's not even a full-time position. I said, "What?" She's like, "No, it's not full-time. It's only like it's something to really help out with a need on the route because we need more people and blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh hell, they playing the game. They playing the game." She said, "Yeah, but those other positions, the other ones that I'm telling you about, those are full time." I said, "Okay, well, that's the ones I want." She's like, "Yeah, I understand." If you gave me all that information, I still applied. But I thought to myself, when is the game in, y'all? They've been doing this for years at these types of jobs. When I tell you it's the same, and you had to go back and watch my other things to understand. But like I said, my first live today, I broke it down and I told y'all about an experience I had with getting hired for the Brown Shield. And they played a really dangerous game with a bunch of people for orientation that was not a real orientation, making it seem like we were gonna start that day in the way it was advertised and all that. They play them games, man. It's like people are really making sacrifices to even be there to get the freaking job, and you acting like it's a joke. I don't know why they do that. And you can tell they always the person who's there to do it is always nervous because they it's like, man, I feel like they be sitting there like, should I have worn my bulletproof vest today? Because they know how, some of these folk, like I was describing in my previous video, you're dealing with some majority of these folks who get in these types of jobs, man. These are folk at the bottom of the pile trying to make it work, trying to come back into society sometimes. It's not what some people think when they think of these types of jobs either. It's a motley crew. It's not like one type of employee, and it's usually a lot of really rough and tumble type folk, you know. Respectfully said, for those who are good people still, they just come from some messed up situations. Because I met a lot of cool people, and then I met a lot of jerk offs too, and then I met a lot of rich, educated jerk offs. Jerk off is a jerk off. It don't matter what the hell. But it is a special breed when it's lower on the scale. It just is because it's the environment, it's the energy. Ooh, so like today, And with other people who are desperate, trying to get money and survive in this economy. And I just thought to myself,